The way I make videos is going to have to change from now on. So it actually takes me a lot longer to make videos. So what I have to do is I have to record my audio externally, like on like a USB recorder or a non-wireless type voice recorder, and then put it into my editing programs and go from there, which is really shitty. I can't just plug in a microphone to a laptop or a PC and go at it anymore because my electronics are being hit so hard. Like just now, my PlayStation turned on. I don't know where it just turned on. My electronics are being hit so hard that I literally cannot record a human voice. It's louder than my voice. I'll give you an example of it. What I will do is I'm going to record for like 10 seconds. And then I will, after 10 seconds, I'll try to speak over that interference and show you. And it doesn't matter what electronic I use, whether it's a laptop or my PC, 2 different laptops, PC, whatever it is, it does not work. It's becoming very, very, very hard for me to get my information out to you. Okay, here I am trying to make a video for you, hoping that this video turns out really well. This is a test of the emergency nano dig system. This is only a test. This is the test of the emergency nano dig system. Let me tell you a quick story. As I was finishing up the delivery method explained in detail video, I was rendering it, and there was this explosion to my right. And it sounded just like a light bulb blew up. I mean, just like a light bulb. Like if one drops on the ground, that pop. It was loud. So I jumped up and I was like, what the fuck? So I'm looking around the right side of the room and there's nothing there. So I started thinking that maybe something popped on the outside of the house, even though it sounded like the inside. So I went out and checked the outside, nothing there. Anyway, I come back in, start looking around again, and I see eggshell. There was a fucking Easter egg that had been painted and put on a candle holder. This thing has been there for about 5 years. Seriously, like 5 years. It just blew up. It literally blew up. There was eggshell everywhere all over the shelf. There was eggshell down on the floor behind the television. So here's another case of, you could think this was paranormal if I didn't know better. You know, these are boogity demons doing this, all that shit. And it's not. It's just not. You know, you've got these pressure changes that take place, especially on that side of the house for some reason. Because there was a time when I kept bottles in the kitchen that are on the same side of the house in a bag. And if I kept 10 or more bottles, you know, I'd have this area with trapped oxygen in it, just like an egg. You would hear this clicking and popping all night as the bottles expanded and contracted because of the temperature and pressure changes that are going on. So it's not paranormal, but I just wanted to tell you about that. It's a really weird thing to have an egg literally sit there for 5 years and then explode as you're working on something in the living room, you know. It's really fucked up. Also, I wanted to say that, you know, a lot of people have been going, oh, so what do I do now? Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at all. The protocol is still the same. If it takes away the symptoms, it takes away the symptoms. I put this video out to explain in detail that I've figured out further what it is. The protocol that I talked about in my older video still does the same thing. I'm trying some new stuff now on top of that to see if it makes any difference in this. Other people have asked, what do I do to kill it dead? Well, here's the problem with that. You can keep your symptoms to a minimum, and that's really the best that you can ask for right now, because this is everywhere. No matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter where you live, no matter where you're at, it's always going to be there, and you are always going to be in contact with it. Have you ever seen any of those Germ shows where they take the woman that thinks she's really clean in the kitchen and they give her some chicken that they put invisible dye all over? And then they go back in the room afterwards and they turn on the black light and show her the fact that she's smeared chicken germs everywhere. It's kind of like that in the sense that it's everywhere. It's all over your steering wheel. It's all over the seat of your car. It's all over the outside. And I'm going to show some laser videos in this video to show how much metal is everywhere, and this stuff, this dust, it's everywhere. That's another thing. Somebody brought up lithium and metals. That's already in the air. It's working in tandem with that as well. That's everywhere. You can turn on use a green laser. I have a few really good lasers that show metal in the air all the time, and the laser looks like a lightsaber no matter where you are, outside or inside. And you shouldn't see a laser, the actual beam. You should see the point but not the laser, and you do now. Eventually we will find a way to kill it dead, and then it won't be able to survive. But you have to remember that whoever designed this designed it to withstand almost anything. It can live. Both the Shewanella and the fungal graphene grows on other things than just the human body, and it can live outside the human body, just like, say, poison ivy oil, It can live till you touch it, just like people that go hunting. I've read about hunters who have gone hunting, walked through brush with their hunting jackets or their coveralls, and then put them in a closet and then touch them a year or two later and gotten poison ivy. It's basically the same thing. But we will figure out a way to kill it. But for now, my old protocol stands the same. It's the same. Keep doing it if it works for you. And like I said before, I'm working with other stuff to see if that makes a difference on top of it. And another thing that I'd like to talk about really quick. This is probably just going to be a mishmash of like different ideas that I've had and wanted to put in the other video and forgot, or videos that afterthoughts that I had afterwards. A few people have said, you'll go broke doing this, and it's like, no, you won't. For one, the main things, borax, all the stuff that goes with the protocol that I put out before is relatively cheap. Okay, you have to use a lot of Epsom salt at first. I get that, but here's the thing. Once you get your symptoms down, you don't have to do this all the time. It doesn't become a lifestyle. And yes, you do have to change things. But the most important thing when you're experiencing this is to get back to your old lifestyle and start doing the things that you were doing before and not let this run your life. So what I'm getting at is, once you've used the borax and the Epsom salts and you've got the symptoms down, you don't have to do it every day. You don't have to do it all the time. Take smaller doses of the SSKI. Take the baths once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever works for you. Everybody is not at the same level. Some people who have different genetics and different lifestyles and their bodies that are different. Some people are going to have shit tons of this stuff on them, where some people aren't going to have as much. It's totally different for everybody. You have to realize that it's not the exact same for everybody. So you have to start figuring it out for yourself. What works for you? How many of these do I need, so that I'm not feeling shock sensations, vibrations, pain, V2K, whatever it is. You have to figure out what works for you, and then it doesn't cost that much at all. So what, a big bag of Epsom salt is what, $5? It works for like 2.5 baths, so maybe 3 depending. So if you're taking one a week, there's 3 weeks, $5. So come on. The most expensive thing is the SSKI. And it really is expensive, but it lasts. And if you're only taking maintenance doses after you've gotten your symptoms down, then that's what works for you. And it's not that expensive. It's my belief, with a lot of research and listening to a lot of people talk, that this is a slow process. When you get this, it takes a long time to go infected online, to be activated, whatever you want to call it. It takes a long time for it to happen. So once you get there, that means you have an excess amount of this stuff on and in you. Once you get it down and get your symptoms down, then you can keep this at a level that isn't going to cause you absurd amounts of pain or torture or whatever else. Afterthoughts. People are commenting, borax. Yes, borax is part of it.
Go back to my older videos. You can't go to my channel. They won't show up for some reason. I don't know why. Go back to my older videos. Click on like my uploads or my videos and find my older videos that talk about borax and SSKI and everything that reduces the symptoms of this excessively. It's already covered. All that stuff was already covered years ago. So check it out. Usually I'm very, very careful about my choice of words with these videos because I have a lot of opinions that I don't even put in these videos at all. I won't talk about them. I usually like to stick to the facts. But this, I've pretty much came to the conclusion that Morgellons, electronic harassment, TIs, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing at a different level, whether the person's body is rejecting it, whether the body is integrating it, whether the person is online, activated, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. So, you've got all these different camps. It's almost like the UFO community, the Bigfoot community, the directed energy weapons community. It's all the same. It's all the same fucking thing. The paranormal community. It's all the same thing. And everybody, they're in these different camps talking about the same thing and they don't fucking realize it. It's all the same thing. So we need to erase these fucking lines and be working together to come up with solutions for this and start doing real research. But it's all the same. And that's what I've been pretty much trying to poke at through all these videos, is that this is all the same thing. All of it. We need more people that are thinking outside the box. And that's what, you get these camps. And I guess that's what I'm getting at, is you get these camps that get in these little cubicles of thought. And then you have these echo chambers. It becomes a support group where they're just repeating the same things back to each other over and over and over. And nothing in, nothing out. And what happens is it goes stagnant and it goes nowhere. And that's what they thrive on. That's what these people are thriving on. Check out, there's a documentary called Mirage Men, where this guy Benowitz lived near a base, and not unlike myself, he found these signals, right? And after he found the signals, the NSA proceeded to disinform him, convince him it was aliens, and drove him fucking insane. They're doing that in every one of these camps because they can disinform and they can keep everybody separated. And that's what's going on. Those lines need to be erased. See, just for example, the paranormal people would be doing much greater good for the world if they quit looking for ghosts and tried to find where the fucking signal was coming from. Could you imagine if every motherfucking paranormal group in this country, there's a million of them. Imagine if every group was out there trying to track down where these signals were coming from. We'd have this cracked in a fucking week. But they do this, and they do all this shit on purpose. Here's some more random information and like an example of just crazy weirdness, an afterthought. Just needs to be put in there, but there's no real context to put it into a video, so I'm just going to tell you. Up the street from me, half a mile, there's a Burger King, right? One night, not long ago, at about 11 p.m., one of the Burger King workers starts acting weird, like really weird, doing weird shit, talking weird. Then he strokes out, and I mean literally strokes out, right? So he strokes out, the ambulance comes and gets him, and then the other guy that's working with him starts freaking out, acting weird, and then saying that he's going to come back and take everybody out in the place. So, this is one of those cases where if you think this is something that's normal, like two guys just freak out, you are in need of a Thorazine drip. Your reality is so tweaked and inverted from the media and the shit that they're telling you that you literally need a Thorazine drip at this point. It doesn't happen. It's like those Swedish twins. that were in Ireland and then ended up in the UK. And then they ended up they were like jumping into traffic. They did a bunch of fucked up shit, and I won't get into the details of that. You look it up. But they ended up saying that they had a transient mental illness. That's what these shrinks get at. They will bend and create conspiracy theories to make sense out of something. So they had a transient mental illness that went from one to the other. That's how these people rationalize stuff, by literally making up conspiracy theories. So think about that. You have these smart meters going in, wireless, all this shit, and then all of a sudden, you've got all these people doing crazy fucked up shit in tandem with each other. And you think that shit just happens? It doesn't happen. People just don't freak out. They don't go insane. They don't just snap one after the other like dominoes. It's nuts. And if you believe that, you're fucking nuts. And I think that wraps it up with all the afterthoughts. That's it. See you later.